It's Thursday, October 19. In the headlines, the number of dengue cases continues to increase. In business news, gas prices down by 25 cents. Regionally, non-stop flights between Barbados and the Cayman Islands begin. Internationally, marches for Palestine and Jordan, and thousands rally outside U.S. and Israeli embassies. In sports, CG United Super 50 tournament. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. The number of dengue cases continues to increase in Jamaica. According to the Ministry of Health and Wellness, as of Tuesday, October 17, 434 confirmed dengue cases from approximately 2,107 suspected, presumed, and confirmed cases. The most recent statement from the ministry says there were 7 dengue-related deaths, 5 classified as suspected, and 2 as confirmed. The Health Ministry says all parishes continue to see an increase in dengue cases this year when compared to 2022. The ministry is again reminding the public that dengue fever is a mosquito-borne disease that is usually a mild illness in which a person may get a fever, headache, joint and muscle pains. Rest and adequate hydration are usually enough to see one through the period of illness. $100,000. That's how much taxi operators could be charged if found guilty of hiking fares. A 19% fare increase for public transport operators came into effect last Sunday. And while many drivers or operators of public transport arena seem willing to overlook the October 16 increase, some have been increasing the fares by as much as 100%. Some taxi drivers say finding the coins for change is a hassle and have resigned to wait until the next fare increase, which is to take effect on April 1, 2024. Transport Minister Darrell Vaz in the House of Representatives on Tuesday explained that the new fare hike was granted in an effort to cushion the impact of increased operational costs being borne by public bus and taxi operators. However, public passenger transporters are being reminded that hiking fares beyond the legal limit could mean fines of up to $100,000 or the loss of their public transport licenses. Procurement issues and the lack of technological infrastructure are being touted as major challenges for the Education Transformation Oversight Committee, ETOC. Speaking at a press brief at Jamaica House in St. Andrew on Wednesday, Chairman of the Education Transformation Oversight Committee, Dr. Adrian Stokes, said the government's public procurement system is one factor causing implementation of some initiatives from the Professor Orlando Patterson-led Education Transformation Commission to lag.
And I know that there are some procurement issues surrounding the full rollout. But it is quite a substantial, piece of work to be done. It's quite substantive. Something that will impact lives in a very big way. And again, we are encouraging the ministry to ensure that the work here is advanced in a serious way.
Dr. Stokes also notes that the procurement of key technological resources, software to aid the project management process, have been impacted by the lagging procurement process.
The other important initiative that's lagging that I want to highlight, it's the procurement of what I will call key technological resources. Mostly, I would say, software to aid the project management process. As you know, we ultimately want to get to a point where we can have the updates available to the public by clicking on a link or clicking in a website, right? That requires some work in the back end.
The e-talk was established to monitor execution of the recommendations in the Education Transformation Commission report. Education Minister Fayval Williams, addressing the press brief on Wednesday, said a lot of preliminary work has been done in relation to the implementation of the Patterson report, which had made 365 recommendations.
We've done a lot of preliminary work. The chairman of ETOC has the Ministry of Education and Youth on a weekly reporting. And you heard him talk about the implementation plan, the monitoring and evaluation, project management, and so on.
October is Lupus Awareness Month. Lupus occurs when the immune system, which normally helps to protect the body from infection and disease, attacks its own tissues. The Lupus Foundation of Jamaica has kicked off its observation of Lupus Awareness Month under the theme, Loop Us. You, me, us. LFJ President Dr. Desiree Tulloch-Reed shared some facts with JIS host Theodore Henry.
So what happens in an autoimmune disorder is that our immune systems that normally protect us from infections or other threats by fighting them off actually end up turning against us. So the immune system becomes dysfunctional, and it starts instead to attack healthy organs and tissues, generating inflammation and causing damage to the tissues, and this leads to illness.
Right.
And there are actually many different kinds of autoimmune conditions. Very often they may attack a particular organ, for instance, many kinds of thyroid disease, or even childhood diabetes, maybe autoimmune, or certain skin conditions. But lupus is considered one of the most serious because with lupus, almost any organ or tissue can become involved.
So how do you diagnose lupus?
So the diagnosis sometimes of lupus is straightforward, other times not so much. They sometimes refer to lupus as the disease of many faces.
Is that tied to the fact that it can impact everywhere, anywhere?
Yes, and so it can present itself in so many different ways because no one person with lupus is the same. So there are some ways that people may commonly present. It may not tell you exactly what is happening, but it can be a warning sign to be checked out. So a common symptom would be just fatigue, unexplained fatigue, lack of energy, getting fevers, swollen lymph nodes. So it can feel like you're getting dengue or something. Person's joint pain is another common symptom. It could be any joint, multiple joints. Another common symptom can be rashes, especially unusual skin rashes, like rashes that scar or rashes that occur in places that are exposed to the sun. And there is a classic rash that persons may have across the cheeks and the nose bridge, and they often refer to that as a butterfly rash. And I think that's why sometimes you see a reference to the butterfly as a symbol in lupus. So these are some common symptoms, but depending on where you're being affected, people may have their hair fall out. So hair fall out in patches or all over. Persons may get little ulcers in the nose and the mouth recurrently. There's a symptom we call Raynaud's phenomenon, where your fingers actually change color, turn blue or purple or white when it's cold. So these are some symptoms. Persons may even present with swelling if they have kidney involvement, which may lead them to retain water.
Okay.
And so the list goes on. I mean, you can have it affecting your heart, your lung, chest pain, breathlessness. It can be a range of things, and it can be a cause of anemia or low blood counts, so.
So you have symptoms like this, you head to the doctor, they will handle the diagnosis. And I'm very curious about this because it seems like such a diverse impacts. Are there different kinds of lupus?
Yes. You can have, we would actually refer to, most times when we use the term lupus, we're referring to systemic lupus, or the long version is systemic lupus erythematosus.
Oh boy.
That was the original.
Right.
But the term lupus is often used for different kinds of conditions. But most times nowadays we're referring to systemic lupus, and related to it there is what we call cutaneous lupus, which is lupus that affects the skin only without affecting any organs or systems internally. So we call that cutaneous lupus.
Understood. Thank you for that. How many Jamaicans are living with lupus?
We don't have exact numbers. The estimates that we have usually lie around 6,000 based on the rates that are observed in Afro-Caribbean populations like ours.
The Lupus Foundation of Jamaica will be hosting a free annual hybrid lupus symposium on October 22, focusing on lupus and cardiovascular health. Time now for the business report with Danita Rodney.
Motorists will pay 25 cents less for gas when they go to the pumps on Thursday. State-owned oil refinery Petrojam says E1087 will sell for $182.77 per liter, while a liter of E1090 will sell for $188.85. With an increase of $4.50 per liter, automotive diesel oil will sell for $189.77. Ultra-low sulfur diesel will sell for $198.16 per liter, and the kerosene will sell for $195.03. In the meantime, propane cooking gas will go up by $1.06 to sell for $68.46, while butane will move up by $3.06 to sell for $75.40 per liter. Remember, retailers will add their markups to the announced prices. Annual inflation as of September 2023 was 5.9%. This is the second time since this year that point-to-point inflation has fallen within the Bank of Jamaica's 4 to 6% target range. Director General of the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, Carol Coy, gave the update at the Institute's quarterly press briefing on Wednesday.
The point-to-point inflation rate as at September 2023 was 5.9%. The main factors influenced this were the division's food and non-alcoholic beverages, up by 9.8%, and restaurants and accommodation services, up by 12%. These movements were, however, moderated by the 1.9% fall in the index of the housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels divisions.
Now for your market updates. In foreign exchange trading for Wednesday, October 18, the US dollar sold for an average of $156.33. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $114.67. The pound sterling traded for $190.02, and the euro sold for $165.46. In GSE trading, the GSE index declined by over 2,782 points. The junior market index advanced by over 13 points. The combined market index declined by over 2,479 points, and the All Jamaican Composite Index declined by over 3,302 points. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 99 stocks, of which 45 advanced, 39 declined, and 15 traded firm. Stocks advanced for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited, and Blue Power Group Limited. Stocks declined for Access Financial Services Limited, Barita Investments Limited, and CAC 2000 Limited. Trading firm were Berger Pace Jamaica Limited, Cargo Handlers Limited, and Epley 7.50% preference shares due 2024. The overall volume leaders were Dollar Financial Services Limited with over 3 million units, Edufocal Limited with over 2 million units, and Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited with over 1 million units. In regional stocks in Trinidad and Tobago, Calypso Macro Index Fund posted a volume of 54 shares. Zero Securities traded on the Barbados Stock Exchange. In regional business, Hope Coconut Industries Limited is seeking assistance from Jamaica to establish a development board in Guyana as the country undergoes an expansion of the coconut industry. More in this report.
General Manager of the Hope Coconut Industries Limited (HCIL), Ricky Rupchand, recently told the newsroom that in developing the coconut industry, it will form a development board as soon as next year. And the company will look to Jamaica for help. Jamaica has a coconut industry board, which is a statutory corporation established to administer guidance for the industry. By adopting such an initiative, Guyana can become better at managing the industry. He said Guyana will seek the assistance of Jamaica and the Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute in doing so.
We'll have to work towards forming a National Coconut Development Board. We don't have a board, and the industry is expanding, as I mentioned earlier. So you need some structure in terms of managing it. And to this, we are asking assistance from CARICOM or CARDI, Jamaicans. The Jamaican for CARICOM has a Coconut Development Board, so we're asking them to assist us how to structure it.
This year, the industry saw high-yielding Brazilian green dwarf coconuts introduced in the local market. An estimated 270 to 300 farmers are benefiting from the imported seeds that are being cultivated at farms. One coconut variety takes about 15 years to develop, and Rupchand said to avoid setbacks, other coconut varieties that are viable in the country will be brought here.
The coconut industry is expanding phenomenally now, because for the past 2 years, we have projected that it would have increased by 1,000 acres per year, but actually in 2 years it has surpassed 5,000 acres.
To ensure efficiency within the coconut industry, the HCIL also procured 8 coconut shredders that cost approximately $3.8 million. These are being utilized to shred waste material from the coconut. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Lizina Yearwood.
In international business, U.S. stocks ended sharply lower as investors assess the latest batch of corporate earnings and the concerns deepen about the war in the Middle East.
The Dow dropped about 1%, the S&P 500 shed more than 1.3%, and the Nasdaq plunged over 1.6%. Mounting tensions in the Middle East stoked risk aversion. Safe haven gold hit its highest in more than 2 months, while the VIX Volatility Index, Wall Street's fear gauge, rose. Carol Schleif, Chief Investment Officer at BMO Family Office, says that stocks have mostly shrugged off geopolitical events until the deadly overnight blast at a Gaza hospital heightened fears the conflict was spreading.
We do think that you're seeing a bit more geopolitical concern creep in. It's been interesting because as we've been going around the country the last 6 to 12 months, never in my career have I seen geopolitical concerns at the top of everybody's list. And I think there's that fear. You're seeing it through in the energy markets today. You're seeing it through in gold as a safe haven status.
Treasury yields edged higher after data showing U.S. single-family home building rebounded in September, supporting the view that the Federal Reserve will keep interest rates higher for longer.
In market data for oil prices fell about 2% on Thursday as the United States eased sanctions on Venezuela to allow more oil to flow globally. Brent futures were down $1.52 to $89.98, and the West Texas Intermediate futures stood at $87.07 per barrel, down $1.25. And that was the business report on PBCJ. I'm Danita Rodney.
In regional news, a non-stop air service between Barbados and the Cayman Islands is now in operation. It's expected to enhance airlift options while growing Barbados as a major tourist destination. Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Tourism Investment Incorporated, Craig Hines, says the flight marks a new beginning, not only for Barbados and the Cayman Islands, but the entire Caribbean. Trevor Thorpe reports.
Brilliant sunshine and a crop-over-style welcome were the order of the day as the Cayman Airways 737 aircraft touched down at the Grantley Adams International Airport. On board were officials from the Barbados Tourism Marketing Incorporated, hoteliers and Caymanians who were touching down for the first time. The acting CEO, in his welcome remarks, said it was more than just the arrival of an aircraft, but it signifies a remarkable step forward for the Caribbean.
Regional travel has often faced challenges, including complex connecting flights and long layovers. The introduction of this direct service will help to alleviate some of these challenges, making it more convenient for travelers from the Northern Caribbean to experience the warmth, hospitality, and the products that Barbados have to offer. This new will serve as a vital gateway also for several key destinations, including Jamaica, Havana, and notably Los Angeles. Presently, travelers on the West Coast have very limited options when traveling to the Caribbean, and with the introduction of this route, we will provide another way for those travelers to reach this part of the globe.
President and Chief Executive Officer of Cayman Airways, Fabian Worms, said it was the culmination of talks between the Barbados Ministry of Tourism and the Barbados Tourism Marketing Incorporated, and called on Barbadians to make use of the service.
This service represents a milestone in air connectivity within the Caribbean region and is one of the longest non-stop scheduled intra-Caribbean scheduled flights ever undertaken by any airline, believe it or not. It impressively spans from almost the very west of the Caribbean to the absolute east. On behalf of Dr. John Paul Clark, our chairman, and the rest of our Cayman Airways family, I would like to recognize and thank the chairman, or I should say chairperson, of Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc., Mrs. Shelley Williams, and also the acting CEO of BTMI, Mr. Craig Hines.
Director, Caribbean, Latin America and Sports at the BTMI, Corey Garrett, gave details of the service and touched on other developmental plans.
The service starts off with a twice-weekly service, but it ramps up from November. Then, of course, are the onward connections that we are focusing on from Los Angeles, and that, of course, is to also target the Northern Caribbean, etc. So it's an entire Northern Caribbean push. Although the airline is based in Cayman, we've seen significant traction out of Jamaica, Bermuda's there, of course, and then, as I mentioned, of course, the West Coast of the LAX, which my other director, of course, Mr. Peter Mears, is working very, very tirelessly hard to make sure that falls into place by mid-November.
The new service represents a milestone in air connectivity in the Caribbean region. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
On Monday, the Belize Ministry of Health and Wellness issued an advisory informing of counterfeit Tylenol being sold in various supermarkets across the country. Currently, the ministry is on a mission to remove as many of the bogus Tylenols off the supermarket shelves. News 5 spoke with Crystal Samug, the Director of Drug Inspectorate Unit, for details.
This particular case, we actually received an alert. Someone was actually concerned. This is something that we do encourage the public. If you feel that something is wrong, let us know so that we can start an investigation. So we received the alert, we went out, we conducted something known as surveillance, market surveillance. We went out, we got samples at the location where the medication was said to be found, and we collected it, and we were able to get the samples and confirm with Johnson & Johnson that that product is not their product. We are still very in the early stages of this investigation. As soon as we receive the confirmation, the first thing that we want to do is we want to go out there and remove it. That's the first priority. When we are satisfied that we have removed what is available on the market, then we're going to sit down and we're going to say, look at the quantities that was available in each district and so on. In this case, we're trying to track down the source. What we know is that we have not found the batch in what we call our importation database, which is a database that includes all the medication that have received an importation permit from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. We have not seen this batch in our importation database, so it likely means then that it came in illegally, and that's something that we're trying to determine who exactly is bringing it in and how is it that they are bringing it in.
In international news, thousands of people have rallied outside the U.S. and Israeli embassies in the Jordanian capital of Amman following the hospital massacre in Gaza. Several pro-Palestinian marches are expected across the country, and some political parties have called for a general strike. Al Jazeera has more.
Across Jordan, angry protesters in their thousands have continued to chant against Israeli attacks on Palestinians. The biggest protests are outside the Israeli embassy in Amman. The Jordanian security forces have prevented demonstrators from reaching the embassy compound. According to Israeli media, the building was evacuated on day one of the war on Gaza. Jordanians and Palestinians from all sections of society have taken to the streets after the Israeli attack on Al Ahli Baptist Hospital in Gaza, which killed hundreds of people.
I am really angry about what is happening because it's not right. It's not right. We are really angry. We are sad. I don't know how to explain my feeling in the right words. Yani.
We are looking forward to a free Palestine, free of colonization, free of occupation.
I will tell everyone, stay united as one people, one body, even youth and children. Don't give up your motherland.
We are watching the TV and my children crying every day, and I hope that everything will be okay with Gaza.
Mad grief and anger echoed during the Jordanian parliament's emergency session on Gaza. The Prime Minister says support for Palestinians will continue in the face of what he calls Israeli aggression, which has transcended all human, moral and legal values. King Abdullah's message also had strong words. He called the hospital attack a massacre, a heinous war crime, which cannot be tolerated.
The attack on the hospital in Gaza has hit a nerve, not just here in Jordan, but across the Middle East. People here in Amman say that unless Israel stops what they call indiscriminate killing of Palestinians, their demonstrations will continue. Samba Bijawed, Al Jazeera, Amman.
In sports, defending champions Jamaica Scorpions lost by 8 wickets to the Leeward Islands Hurricanes in their opening match of the Cricket West Indies Regional Super 50 at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy in Tobago on Wednesday. The Scorpions will next be in action against the Barbados Pride on Friday at the Sir Frank Worrell Memorial Ground. Meanwhile, round 1 of the CG United Super 50 closed on Tuesday night with a close finish between Guyana and the Windward Islands, while the TNT Red Force could not begin their home campaign on a winning note.
Guyana was asked to bat first and mounted 229 for 9 from their 50 overs. There were contributions of 41 from both Tevin Imlach and Kevin Sinclair, while Gudakesh Moti had a cameo 29 from 19 balls. Ryan John spearheaded the bowling attack for the Windward Islands, taking 4 wickets for 60 runs. In response, the Windwards were led by standout player Alec Athanase, scoring a brisk 75 from 55 balls. He received support from captain Andre Fletcher with a patient 52 not out. However, their efforts were not enough as the Guyana Harpy Eagles clinched a 10-run win, dismissing the Windwards for 219 in 46 overs. Kevin Sinclair followed up his batting effort with 2 for 42 and a pacer Romario Shepherd taking 3 wickets for 35 runs. At the close, Sinclair noted his joy doing well for his country.
For me, I just look to contribute with the bat and the ball today, and it pay off. My hard work pay off. So, to put in this performance for my team is always special. And I love representing Guyana, to be honest. So to put out this performance and we win is something special.
Earlier in the day, captain of the TNT Red Force, Darren Bravo, top scored with 81 not out as his team posted 246 for 4. The combined campuses and colleges began their chase brilliantly, getting to 53 without loss in 6.4 overs before rains washed out play, ending in a no result. Speaking on his innings, Bravo affirmed the importance of him doing well.
My name, obviously being the captain of the team, I have to try my utmost best to lead from the front. So all in all, I think it was a decent performance. I think the other batters, they would have set a decent platform, but unfortunately the rain came and sort of cut us short.
With the new point structure, where teams can obtain bonus points for landmarks during the game, Guyana are poised on 7 points with the TNT Red Force and the CCC both on 2 points each. On Thursday, the TNT Red Force will clash with the Windward Islands at the Queen's Park Oval from 9 a.m. and the CCC go up against the West Indies Academy at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy from 1 p.m.
And that's it for the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thanks for watching.